The Lakers and Mavericks sent shockwaves through the NBA last week with what some are calling the craziest trade ever. It didn't seem real at first because there were no indications that Luka, Doncic, or Anthony Davis would get traded. But here we are. Sham's Twitter didn't get hacked. Most of us are still trying to wrap our heads around the fact that this is real. The Mavericks seriously screwed themselves in the long run while the Lakers have potentially set themselves up for the next 10 years. In the short term, the Mavericks just got a lot better defensively by giving up Luka Doncic, not only for Anthony Davis, but for Max Christie too. AD has been one of the best two-way players in the game for most of his career, and Max Christie has really emerged as a solid 3-and-D player. However, because of AD's age and injury history, this can really only benefit them in the short term, while the Lakers are potentially setting themselves up for the next 10 years. The Mavericks have to win a championship now to be able to say this trade was worth it. They mortgaged their future by giving up a guy who at 25 is already the second greatest player in their franchise history for an older and injury-prone star. Anthony Davis is not a consensus best player on a championship team. He's not even close. He and LeBron were once 1A and 1B, but that was 5 years ago. He's had his injuries since then, and he's still a great player and had a great Mavericks debut, but also got injured in his debut. Even when healthy now, he's not as great as he was in 2020 anymore. He's definitely not a top 5 player in the league right now.
How do you see this working out well for the organization in the long term?
Well, I think the long term is the time frame. I think he fits our time frame. He fits right along with our time frame to win now and win in the future. And the future to me is 3-4 years from now. The future 10 years from now, I don't know. I don't think or we bear ourselves.
Yes.
You sure about 3 to 4 years from now when AD and Kyrie are 36? I'm pretty sure no team in NBA history has ever won a championship with both their best players being 36. And Jason Kidd just does not look like he's buying this at all. He's just like, what am I even doing here listening to this? And what are you even bringing up 10 years from now for? The Mavs should know that Luka is not a finished product at just 25. AD is a month away from turning 32, and he's not going to get any better. In fact, AD is a household name for being injury prone. I may have just praised Max Christie about a minute ago, but only as a role player. A really good role player is his ceiling. How did the Timberwolves have to give up multiple first-round picks for Rudy Gobert when the Mavs only gave up 1 first-round pick? I don't care if the Jazz didn't get a player nearly as good as Anthony Davis in return. You want to make sure you get a lot more draft capital than the Mavericks are getting if you're willing to trade a young star like Luka Doncic, especially for an older one. The Mavericks didn't just trade away their best player. They also threw away all the effort they made to build a team around him. They got Kyrie 2 seasons ago to get Luka a legitimate co-star. They got Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington to bolster the team's defense, who both played a big part in getting to the finals last year. And they just signed one of the greatest catch-and-shoot three-point shooters of all time in Klay Thompson this summer for the sole purpose of getting a guy who can fit Luka's ball-dominant play style. Speaking of Kyrie though, he has a player option after this season. If he does pick it up instead of testing the market, well, he's still a free agent after next season. He's already 32 though. No matter what happened with Kyrie, this is just another reason why the championship window just got a lot shorter. Defense wins championships is a true statement, and yes, Luka needs to try harder on that end. However, did you guys forget that your greatest player in franchise history was never a lockdown defender either? Yet, when he led your team to a championship, he had teammates like Tyson Chandler, Deshaun Stevenson, Shawn Marion, and even old Jason Kidd, who were the main reasons why the Mavericks defense was great enough to win a championship. And Dirk, while not amazing on that end, was at least good enough. Worst of all, the Mavericks betrayed Luka. Sometimes blindsiding your best player is what's best for your team, like how the Celtics did it to Isaiah Thomas because of his hip injury in 2017, or the Raptors did it to DeMar DeRozan 2000 and 2018 for two guys that were one-year rentals, one being a finals MVP, which DeMar could never be, but the Mavs had no reason to do it to Luka. Just because they wanted to avoid paying Luka the Supermax contract, is that it? If so, that's a slap in the face to a guy who just got you to the finals and isn't even a finished product yet. Now it's led to speculation about Luka's conditioning. That's just wrong. The report about Luka getting up to 270 pounds during his rehab, he does not look 270 pounds. He may not be the best conditioned athlete of all time, but to talk about him the way we do about Zion Williamson is just ludicrous. Now let's talk about how the Lakers should be able to benefit for years to come. We know Luka and LeBron can't complement each other because they both need to have the ball in their hands, but it's time to start thinking about beyond the LeBron era. The Lakers just got a 25-year-old superstar for an older superstar who's been known to be injury prone. This sets the Lakers up for the future by getting a young star while he's still in his prime and can prepare them for life after LeBron. Is there anyone in their right mind that really thought the Lakers could win a championship this year by staying put? Rob Pelinka didn't see things that way, and I'm right with him. The duo of LeBron James and Anthony Davis ran its course, and it was time to move on. I've wanted it for a while for the Lakers to get worse before they get better, and that's what's happening right now. Normally you get worse before you get better through the draft with top draft picks. However, with the 25-year-old superstar falling into your lap like this, you better take that instead of trying to build around guys who are unproven. The last time the Lakers tried to build through the draft, well, at least it got them trade pieces for Anthony Davis, who won them a championship in his first year and in the long haul became a trade piece for Luka Doncic. They couldn't actually build a championship core through the draft like the Warriors, Nuggets, or Celtics did though, and who knows if they ever could have done so had they decided to go that route instead of having Luka fall into their laps the way he did. Luka does have his negative traits, which I will get more into later, but it is possible to work around them. He's 25, so he still has room to grow. We know he's not a great defender, but guys who are prolific offensive players that were never known to be great on defense have won championships with defensive studs around them. Magic Johnson, Stephen Curry, Dirk Nowitzki, and Nikola Jokic are four to come to my mind. It is possible for the Lakers to give Luka one co-star and then a bunch of defensive-minded players around him for what he lacks defensively. We also need Luka to care more on that end. In fact, we have seen him actually do well on that end when actually trying. The problem is just lack of effort. Him being slow doesn't bother me at all when Nikola Jokic was able to lead the Nuggets to a championship. LeBron is here to stay at least this year, but we don't know yet what'll happen after this year. I remember wanting to believe that the Lakers will get the right pieces to work around what wasn't an ideal fit with him and Russell Westbrook. It's the same problem now with Luka Doncic. They both need the ball and there's only one basketball. Unlike back then though, the Lakers no longer have to pay Anthony Davis, so they don't need to allocate 70% of their salary to three guys this time. Getting Dorian Finney-Smith for D'Angelo Russell earlier this season does make this Luka trade even better now because they had great chemistry together on the Mavericks 3 seasons ago as they were able to help the team get to the conference finals. You know what else is a plus for the Lakers? What history tells us what happens when the Mavericks let go of some of their most valuable assets, not named Dirk Nowitzki. Steve Nash got a max offer from the Suns, even took it back to Mark Cuban hoping he would match that, and he didn't. Nash won 2 MVPs in Phoenix. The Mavericks let Tyson Chandler walk to the Knicks just after anchoring a championship defense. Chandler won Defensive Player of the Year and then made his only All-Star game with the Knicks. Mark Cuban and Nico Harrison didn't think Jalen Brunson would be worth the big money when he played really well in the playoffs in their conference finals run 3 years ago, especially during Luka's absence due to injury. Now he's a franchise player for the Knicks. Perhaps Luka can follow in their path and do even better things with the Lakers than he ever did in Dallas. Now for what's bad about this trade for the Lakers? Right now, their fit is terrible with LeBron James and Luka Doncic being ball dominant. The Lakers also sent Max Christie alongside AD to the Mavs, and I would have rather sent Austin Reeves because AR is is a ball pounder who definitely can't play alongside both LeBron and Luka. Him scoring 45 in the latest game doesn't change that for me. Neither Luka or LeBron played, so once we do see them hit the court together, no way is AR getting the freedom to do what he did against the Pacers. It'll only make the offense more stagnant if he's on the floor with them. The Lakers also gave up a guy who was really emerging as a nice 3-and-D player at just 21 years old. Us Laker fans were begging Darvin Ham to play him more last season, and to JJ Redick's credit, he's done that, and Christie's made the most of his opportunities this season. The Lakers defense just got significantly worse by trading both Anthony Davis and Max Christie, and now their two best players are total liabilities on that end. Like I said earlier, Luka has his negative traits, and I made a video on this after the finals last year. He doesn't try hard enough on defense, he's not always well conditioned, he plays a heliocentric style, complains too much, he flops, and is not a great free throw shooter. He has already proven he can get a team to the finals, but he needs to fix at least some of these things to win a championship. He's still young enough to have plenty of time to fix any of this, just right now, these negative traits are what's holding him back. Maybe this trade could be a wake-up call about his conditioning and his effort on defense for all we know. The Lakers desperately need a center, especially after the trade that was made soon after this one for Mark Williams got voided because of a failed physical. Jackson Hayes definitely can't cut it as a starting center. He's all athleticism, no skill. He's a poor man's DeAndre Jordan. There's also the risk that Luka's stay could be short-lived. He's only under contract after next season, and then he has a player option. This Lakers team is not meant to win now, so the Lakers better get busy this summer to do whatever it takes to keep Luka, or else the Lakers will have given up one of the better two-way players of this generation for a 2 or 3 year rental. So with everything I've said, I'm welcoming Luka with open arms, and hopefully he can lead the Lakers to their 18th championship, but I'm very certain of it that it won't be with LeBron. Anthony Davis will make his return to LA next month, and he absolutely deserves a standing ovation. He gave us something to cheer for in a year that was otherwise terrible for everyone 5 years ago. He had his ups and downs in his 5.5 seasons with the Lakers, but when he was healthy, he was clearly the best player on the Lakers, especially during the run to the conference finals 2 years ago. I think Max Christie should get a nice hand too, even though he wasn't given much of an opportunity to make that much of an impact on the Lakers. But when he was given the opportunity to play, he definitely made the most of it, and I definitely enjoyed having him here. So welcome Luka, Doncic, Anthony Davis, and Max Christie. All the best to you guys. Now, do you think this trade was made to benefit the Mavericks' new majority owners in the casino and resort business in Las Vegas rather than the Mavericks themselves? Mark Cuban is only a minority owner now, and he sold the majority of his team to the Adelson family, whose wealth stems from the casino and resort industry, and unlike Cuban, they are not basketball people. You won't find a lot of owners who are as passionate about their team as Cuban is, and I very much believe that if he still owned the majority of this team, this trade never would have happened. Mark Cuban has also said things like he hopes the Lakers suck forever, so just out of nowhere, he'll allow his front office to only negotiate trading Luka to the Lakers of all teams? Or how he once said, even if this was a joke, that if it came to trading Luka or divorcing his wife, he would have chosen divorcing his wife, but now, those are my thoughts on the trade. What do you guys think? Please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be much appreciated. Please be sure to consider subscribing and turning on notifications. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to the team. And if you're already subscribed, thanks so much for your support as always. Links to my social media are down below for my more immediate reactions to what's going on in the sports world. Here's my most recent video and the one that YouTube recommends. Both are up above. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time, and go Lakers.